My name is Annika, I'm a farmer in Australia, and the Nocpix team have sent me the Nocpix Lumi L19 to go and check out on our farm.
Dusty paddocks are part of life out here. Tough conditions for thermal gear, chasing feral cats, foxes, pigeons and rabbits.
As you can see in the background, we are currently in the middle of shearing.
So a fair bit of footage features our sheep. They were the most convenient test subjects while we're shearing, and a good way to test out the Lumi L19.
The Nocpix Lumi L19 comes with a manual, a bag, a couple of batteries and a charger. As you can see, it is getting dark out here, so now is the perfect time to quickly run through some of the specs. On the Nocpix Lumi L19, the thermal sensor is a 384 by 288.
I mostly use thermal monoculars to see if there are any heat sources in the paddock. Even at slightly longer distances, where the image just starts to get a bit grainy, animal behavior helps with target ID. Once I know something is there, I'll confirm with a torch, night vision or a thermal scope. A couple of other specs that matter to me are the two batteries, which last around 4.5 hours each, which is plenty for a night of shooting, and the integrated 2 to 8 times zoom.
A lot of thermal monoculars actually have a higher base magnification, which can be somewhat tricky when you're on foot a lot. So the 2 times base magnification is going to be great for rabbit shooting, pigeon shooting, etc. Now, all the other stuff you can probably read up online. We gotta hurry up and start using this thermal monocular.
I'm at about 10 meters here looking at our sheep, and I'll slowly go through the different zoom levels. You'll notice a countdown appear at the top. That's when the thermal monocular is performing a non-uniformity correction, and the image will briefly freeze for a second. It's really handy to have that countdown so you know it's coming and don't get caught out. Then we'll go back from 8 times magnification to 2 times magnification, and right at the end I'll show you the picture-in-picture mode, which is a great feature for spotting things at longer distances. Here's the same footage at 35 meters. A rabbit along the bush edge at 50 meters. Here's our dog at 100 meters, probably similar to what a fox would look like. Even at 200 meters, you can clearly tell that you're looking at kangaroos here, but you can see it's a bit harder to judge those distances if you don't have a laser rangefinder. At 400 meters, it does get a little bit more tricky to get a proper target ID. I can still tell that I'm looking at kangaroos here. However, this particular one looked like a slightly odd shape, and later on we'll actually see that we're looking at 2 kangaroos that are next or behind each other. You can see that I'm going through the different color palettes here, trying to make the image stand out a little bit better. And this is also the moment when you'll see the second kangaroo pop up here. This is a mob of sheep at around 700 meters. At these distances, it can get a bit tricky to tell exactly what you're looking at. Usually I just want to know if there is anything in the paddock, and then I'll move a bit closer using a torch, night vision or a thermal scope to confirm the ID. The ultra clear function is currently turned on here, and I'll turn it off now to show the difference. I find it's more of a contrast change.
After unpacking the Nocpix Lumi L19, a few features became obvious to me straight away. First of all, the form factor. This thermal monocular is designed to easily go into your pocket. I really like that fact because I don't like wearing a lot of backpacks and heavy stuff. I enjoy going out for an occasional walk, go through some bushes, especially when shooting rabbits. I like to walk with very little gear, and the Nocpix Lumi is designed for just that.
I couldn't find a rabbit that I've dropped here, but with the thermal monocular you can just make out its heat signature. Perfect for finding it, confirming the shot placement, and ultimately improving your aim.
After taking the Nocpix Lumi with me on multiple trips, it has really proven itself to be a valuable little companion.
From the lens to the eyepiece, we've got the focus wheel, the on-off standby button, zoom buttons, the menu button for color palette changes and other settings, and the screenshot and video button. Closest to the eyepiece is the diopter adjustment wheel. Let's quickly go through all the color palettes on the Nocpix Lumi L19. I usually stick with the white hot, which gives me the most eye relief, but every now and then I'll switch it to the green or red, for example, to avoid thermal eye. I usually don't change these settings too much, apart from the brightness, which I turn right down in the middle of the night. By long pressing the menu button, we can access the detailed settings, such as the Wi-Fi connection or the gallery. Overall, the Nocpix Lumi L19 handled the dusty farm environment really well. It's a great little spotter to quickly check if there are any animals out in the paddock, and the low base magnification gives you a nice wide field of view, especially around bush edges when chasing rabbits. It's a great entry point into thermal gear, and I'd actually recommend getting a thermal monocular like the Lumi L19 before even considering buying a thermal scope. Because it's so compact, you can just keep it in your pocket for follow-up shoots or for finding animals that are down. Just keep in mind that you'll need to adjust the focus wheel when switching between different distances, so it's not quite a one-hand operation. And if you do expect to shoot at a range of distances, it might also be worthwhile considering the Nocpix Lumi L35R or H35R with an integrated laser rangefinder.